What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Ovenged channel. On today's episode, I want to show you guys a recent purchase I made probably about a week ago that I've been hiding from you guys. And today I want to do a little rundown of it. I want to show you exactly what it is, or exactly what I know about it, which is very little, of course. And we want to try to get this engine running. It's something that you don't see in Newfoundland every day, and it's actually from China. So this is going to be pretty cool, pretty different, and should be pretty entertaining. Here it is. This is a single cylinder, water cooled, mechanical injection. There's no electronics, diesel engine. Just a single cylinder diesel engine. As you can see, it does have a starter onto it. That obviously this is for your battery hookup, but it does actually hand crank. So you can actually crank this over and start it up. I don't really know much about it, guys. I'm being quite honest with you. It does say on this little spec tag right here that it's 22 horsepower. It will spin to 2200 RPMs. And it actually says where it's actually from, but I'm not going to try to butcher that. I will actually just probably type it out down below for you guys to do any research on your own. As you can see right here, we have fueling device, fueling injection pump, I guess you could call it. With all the way back is actually a fuel cutoff. We have a filter, we have just a regular ball valve, I guess you could say, that's in there, some sort of valve. And I believe this up here is our decompression switch, which I haven't really played with this a whole lot. I haven't heard it running or anything yet. And as you can see right here, this is a big electric motor, and this is actually 15 kilowatts of power. It's a single phase, 120, 110, 220, and it has 15 kilowatts, so that's right around 15,000 watts. I mean, this thing will actually power, I don't know, 2 or 3 houses pretty easily, I could imagine. And the previous owner actually was building it to power a pretty remote cabin, I believe, and unfortunately he never got to try it. But I'll probably bring it around the other side. Hopefully I don't shake you guys up too much. And as you can see on this side of the motor, guys, we have this huge flywheel, a starting motor, thankfully. We have a belt-driven water pump, and this is our exhaust port. I just blew out this blind flange when I first got it because it was outside, and I didn't want any tree sap or anything getting down there. As you can see, we have 4 pretty big belts that run this electric motor. So I think it's really cool. We have actually a belt-driven alternator down there, which is really cool because you can set up your battery and it will charge your battery as you go. But what we are going to do today, I'm going to take off this blocking plate and we're going to see if it starts. So one other thing that I want to show you guys, which I thought was pretty cool, it came with this whole rebuild kit. And this actually came with the motor, and as you can see, the size of the piston in this thing is absolutely monstrous. We have a huge bearing. We have this is actually for pulling your valves out of the head, I guess you could say. We have a bunch of various tools. We have an injector. We have new valves, exhaust, and intake, I believe. Just a bunch of random tools that, you know, you can rebuild this thing out in the middle of nowhere. I can only imagine where this thing is actually being utilized, these motors, because being from China, I'm sure they're all across Asia being used in some sort of, I don't know, rice fields and pumping water pumps, and probably being utilized as some sort of tow motor of sorts. It makes it really cool that you don't have to rely on electronics and everything is just mechanical injection. So let's see if we can get this thing started. So I'm first going to start by taking off this kind of blind flange I made here. And once again, I believe I just previously said this, but I left it outside for a little bit with all the trees and stuff around. I just figured this would be a little bit of a safe thing to do, just in case, you know, birds or something want to make a nest down there. I have my trusty forklift battery that I'm just going to hook up over here. And once again, I'm sure you can probably see in this shot, we have a bit of wiring here, but as far as I can tell, that only goes up to the starter and puts power to the starter and to the alternator. So very little wiring, so it got to be a manual shut off. So the previous owner, which once again is my cousin, he said it was ignorantly loud, extremely loud, and we're going to see exactly how loud it is. I'm sure it's pretty loud. I'm sure it likes chugging away, but yeah, I guess we're going to see how loud. This is kind of makeshift kind of stuff, but we'll put that. Not really the best, but we can definitely work with this for now just to see if it will in fact start, which I have no doubt in my mind that it would. And the one thing as well, I mean, there's no glow plugs or anything. I'm sure where these are being utilized is probably not very cold. Not sure if you would even need glow plugs in something like this. Not really sure. Once again, going into this totally blind like I do with 95% of my life. And I'm not really sure if we have to utilize the decompression for the electric start. I'll probably just give it a bump. Oh yeah, that will definitely go. That's not even a joke. Um, so yeah, I guess we'll give it a go maybe. Yeah, that thing is loud as hell, hey. But what, man, that's cool as shit. You cannot say that's not cool. I don't know the last time that thing's been started, but that just fired right up. I didn't have to use the decompression. A little bit of smoke, of course, and you could actually see it chugging, and it was like kind of moving on the concrete. So yeah, I don't know if I try to actually start it with the crank. I don't know really how to go about it. Oh my god. Yeah, good luck to you. Oh man. Um, you're also trying to turn over this electric motor now when you're trying to hand crank it, so maybe that makes it quite a bit more difficult. Um, all right, so now we have the decompression is actually staying down, which is this little lever here. Oh man. Okay, we're going to stick to the starting motor. So this thing is in fact ignorantly loud. Um, Extremely badass. I'm absolutely in love with it, but it's so loud. Um, so first, what I think we're going to do is put an exhaust system on this and see if we can quiet it down a little bit. I picked up a just a tractor exhaust from the local Princess Auto. See if that'll quiet it down. Now, what I actually want to do with this right now in this kind of configuration, I want to keep it as kind of streamlined as possible, compact as possible, because I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with it yet. It might be around here for years before I actually use it to power, I don't know, downtown St. John's or a small city. I don't know what the hell this will power. But I want to keep it really sleek right now. So I'm going to come up here with a 90 and put my muffler right around here. And maybe I'll put a little 90 out or probably up with a flap. Maybe I'm not really sure there. But first and foremost, we'll get the muffler on there. As for our water cooling system, our radiator and whatnot, I'm actually going to put that over here, right where you guys see me kind of hand crank it. And I'm going to put it right here in this area. And that's going to allow me to put it kind of parallel with the engine itself. But what I'm actually going to, I really want to do with it, I kind of want to put it on a hinge type system so I can swing it out and it will come out this way. And it'll kind of be like a 90-degree angle from the motor itself and the frame. And then when I'm done with it, I can just put it back there, lock it in place, and be done with it. I have a pretty heavy duty vinyl cover on the way that I got custom made for it, so I want it all to fit in there in case I got to leave it outside for any length of time. But that's my idea with it right now, because in the future, if you get it, you know, for a remote cabin or a cabin anywhere in general, you can kind of change things up. I mean, you can put the muffler up through the sea can or the shed or whatever you have kind of enclosure for it, and you can hang this on the wall with an opening. But right now, I just want to keep it super compact where I can just pick it up with the forklift, lay it in the back of the truck, go use it somewhere, and you know, bring it home and it takes up the less room as possible. So right now we're going to work on this muffler and see if we can get this thing quieted down a bit. So the muffler that was actually on this, guys, it's this thing right here. As you can see, we have a flange with a flex pipe, and that makes sense. I mean, if you're going to mount it kind of like this and kind of have it hard mounted probably to, like you say, a sea can or some sort of enclosure where the engine can vibrate and the pipe is just kind of hard mounted somewhere. But I'm not going to utilize that right now. In the future, I'll more than likely have to get another flex pipe for there because you don't really know what type of exhaust kind of configuration you're going to have in the future. But right now, I'm just going to kind of hard mount it to the engine itself, so we won't really need a flex pipe. As you can see right here, this is the muffler that came with the motor itself. He threw that in as well. But I don't think that's going to really do much. I can only assume that's straight through and very short, very small. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like a glass pack cherry bomb type thing you'd see on like the older style cars. But the muffler I got is this right here. So as you can see, quite a bit of difference. Quite a bit longer, quite a bit thicker. I believe this is 6-inch diameter maybe. And I believe it's 29, 30 inches overall length. So the muffler itself, like I say, is probably 16, 18 inches. So hopefully this will quiet it down quite a bit. Now, the only thing that I do have to say about this is that it's still straight through. I mean, you can kind of still see straight through it. There's a lot of baffles and stuff. So I'm kind of hopefully this will quiet it down quite a bit. Now, it is a tractor muffler. This is actually meant to be mounted vertically, just like this, that you would see just on a regular farm tractor or something of the sorts. But I'm going to actually utilize it horizontally. Hopefully I can do that. I can't really see the issue with it. And once again, guys, like eventually in the future, I definitely want a 90 with a flap or a 90 out or something like that. But right now, we're just going to throw a 90 on this, and I'm probably going to cut this flange off here. I'll throw this in the bandsaw maybe, and just cut this flange off so I can utilize that because that is the bolt pattern for that exhaust outlet. And perhaps I'll just weld this pipe to this flange. Maybe if I have the proper height, maybe I'll have to add in a little bit of piece of pipe or something like that. But that's a general idea. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to throw this in the bandsaw, let that cut that flange off. So guys, I just cut that flange off in the bandsaw there and just buffed it off just to have a nice flat surface to work off of. So we're going to bolt this here first and foremost. And we're going to lose the washers, of course. Perhaps I won't weld with that gasket there. And I can quite rest assured that that's still a little bit warm. So we're going to put that there. And that's going to give us something that we can work off of for our pipe and kind of just get a quick idea of how we're going to run this. It's kind of a little bit off, but I don't think we're going to lose too much horsepower with it. So what I want to do with this muffler, not sure if I'm going to weld this here or just use a clamp. That can kind of go in tight there pretty good. Maybe I'll just clamp it because if I ever have to let it go to, if I do want to put it up straight in the air for some reason. But yeah, so this is kind of going to sit something like this. And I think what I might have to do is just put a little bit of pipe in here. And I think I actually will weld that for the sake of, you know, just a bead around there and a bead around here. But what I actually want to do then, I actually have another clamp, and we're going to put a support from probably the alternator bracket or the alternator bolt, just come up just to hold a little bit of weight of the muffler, so it's not really just all on this flange right here. Should be pretty simple. Well, it's not perfect, but if it's good enough for SEMA, it's good enough for me. I have my little makeshift adapter pipe, I guess you would call it, with the 90 all in place, welded up. And of course that's going to go right there. One thing that I will say, we're just going to tack this in place to see if we can get it kind of level, kind of looking straight when the muffler's on, on the machine. But one thing that I will say with grounding when you're welding, you definitely want to get the ground as close as possible to your work area where you will be actually welding. Um, if I were to ground this, say, let's just say hypothetically ground it here. Well, now this ground has to go in through the crank and through every mating surfaces, which could be bearings, which could be seals. You never really know what's going to ground first, and that could actually create a little bit of an arc type scenario, and it could create a ridge or a kind of a rough surface area. So you don't really want to do that, even if you're welding on an EFI car with computers and whatnot. If you have your ground on the back of the truck or the back of the car and you're welding up front, well, it's going to ground right through the whole system, and usually it's the electrical system, and it's quite possible that you will actually burn out some of your electrical components, and you could even lose the computer of the car, which could be very expensive, especially if you're welding on something, say, like a dump truck or a tractor trailer or something of the sort, excavator. So it's always recommended that you either take the negative off and disconnect the electrical system altogether in the vehicle that you're welding on. Of course, with this is all being mechanical injection, you don't have to worry about that here. But I would like to, when I'm welding right here, have the ground as close as possible. So we're going to put this right here. And I'm just going to tack that in place for now. Then I'll take that off, and we may have to play with it a little bit to get it exactly where I want it. But it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit too. So perhaps what I'm actually going to do, put that over here, because it seems like, I'm not sure if this is actually bowed down a little bit, or this didn't cut straight, or this is probably over 90, but either way, I have to kind of make sure that everything is kind of level and looking half sensible anyways. I love this, but for some reason every time I don't know if my liner's getting bad. I think I'll be okay with that, guys. We'll just do the whole muffler mock-up right now, and let's just see how it kind of looks. Should be okay that way. I only have 2 small tacks, so I don't want to put too much weight on it. I think that'll be fine. I think we're going to go with that. This is where the tacks break off 100%. Ah. So came in here, guys, and just welded that flange on really quick with the MIG. I really wanted to kind of dig in with 309, but the aluminized experience in me said the hell with that, because that would just be a nightmare with this aluminum plate. And I think we may have a little bit of a clearance issue right now with our the heads of our bolts, but maybe not. Nah, I think we'll be fine, guys. Ow. Nah, that's perfect. We'll be good with that. We'll be good to go. So guys, this is pretty much our exhaust system right here. Pretty straightforward, very simple. So what I want to do now, I actually want to come up and make a mounting bracket because I don't like how there's so much leverage out here. So I just kind of want to make, yeah, as you can see right now, these bolts even here that's holding this flange to the actual head itself, it's kind of a little bit loose. So kind of want to get away from that. And I'm just going to make a very, very simple bracket coming up from there. And what my game plan really is probably just something like this. And I'll just come up with a 1/8 piece of plate maybe, drill a couple holes into it, and tighten that down. So we actually have a bit of 1/8 plate here, so I think that's going to be more than sufficient for what we're going to be needing. And it needs to be 20 inches overall length, but we're going to go 1 inch. Just square that line. On the share, we just made this little strip, 1-inch strip, 1/8 material, and this isn't really to help it from side to side. It's more so for up and down, especially where on the output of that exhaust, it may just be a little bit leverage, and we're just trying to keep it from, you know, kind of tipping down over time. But this gives me a pretty great opportunity to show you this machine. I'm not sure if you guys have been watching this series or the channel long enough to see this just floating around in the background. But what this actually is a Bateman Bantam, I believe, ironworker. These were actually made in the 60s. I believe this is a 63 model. And it actually has this big flywheel weight and big flywheel over here. And it's just ran by motor. And I figured this would be a great opportunity just to show you exactly what this does. You have a bunch of punches here. This will actually punch up to a 1/4 inch thick material. It will shear. In here we have 5-inch shear. And right in the very back we have angle. So if you have a piece of angle iron that's 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 by 1/4 thick, this will shear it off very easy, very clean. Maybe I'll do another breakdown video on this because this is a very, very cool machine and it's old school, and the old school stuff just lasts. It's crazy how old this thing is and how many pieces of material has gone through this thing, and it's still chugging along. So I just got these 2 little spots marked out where our bracket's going to go for the exhaust clamp itself. And I'll just give you a little bit. Now, the worst thing about this, I only have so many dies, so this hole may be a little bit bigger. But, and once again, this is, it's kind of old school technology, but you know what? It beats drilling holes and whatnot. So I'll show you how it works. This is how I line up the holes. And you make sure it's pretty much up top dead center again, I want to call it. And you pretty much get a pretty deadly hole every time. Now, like I say, that is a little bit bigger than what I really want for this. But if I got to put a washer on it, so be it. So guys, these bolts were actually extremely loose. So I'll just give them a little tighten. So there you go. That's it's pretty tight. As you can see, our bracket, I just gave it a quick coat of black paint, but that worked out great. That's kind of exactly what I wanted. A little bit of clearance here. Maybe when it vibrates, may have to come back. I could always just shove that out just a little bit if I had to get away from this casing. But other than that, guys, I think it's the trial run. I think we see how quiet, or if it absolutely did anything at all. Hopefully it quieted down. So I'm going to grab the battery again and we'll give it another go. All right, guys, so this will be the first time I'm hearing it along with you guys. So let's try it out. Maybe. Technical difficulties. These battery terminals aren't what you call on here very good. All right, try this again. What seems to be the issue? Seem to have nothing now, guys, for some reason. These battery terminals definitely aren't the best. I'm wondering if they're giving us the issues right now. They're kind of loose. It's crazy to have absolutely nothing right now, actually. Figured it would do something. There's no way this battery is dead because I just had my forklift going with it. Bear with me. All right, guys, so I tightened these up, and I'm really bad for taking keys out of things. I don't know if this would, take off on its own or something. It does really seem like the battery is fairly low right now, but I can't see that. I wonder if we put the battery booster on there for now, just to see if this would help at all. It's so weird that it cranked previously really, really quickly, and now it's like nothing. Not really sure why. I literally just had the forklift going to back it out. Let's see if that helps us out. All right, the battery seems to be low. All right, let's try this again. Oh man, it really doesn't want to though. I bet you it takes a lot of cranking amps to get this thing moving. But I think our biggest issue is this battery. The battery terminals themselves. Definitely going to have to modify that a bit. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So that's a lot quieter. I'm really happy with that. A lot of the chugging and banging is because essentially it's just beating off the concrete as it's kind of moving around. So guys, that's going to be a wrap for today's video due to the fact that my phone's going dead. So I was hoping to get a bit further with the cooling system, but we got this far. We got a bracket on, hell of a lot quieter. But I feel like if it was mounted down with some rubber isolators or engine mounts of some sorts, I think that would take a lot out of it. But that initial startup phase, it's just all diesel knock, you know, it's just the normal diesel stuff. But when it gets up to RPM and it levels out, it's actually very, very quiet. And once again, we're in the garage, so it's kind of echoing around. If this was outside, or even if you had this in a shed and the exhaust pipe ran outside, I kind of think that it would be quieter again. So I think I'm just going to throw my battery on charge right now. Not really sure why that kind of went dead. Maybe I left the master switch on in my forklift or something. But yeah, so that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Like and subscribe. The next video that you'll see on this, we're going to be plumbing in the radiator itself. And there's going to be a couple of videos on this, you guys, because I want to do the radiator like I just said. And we actually have to get power out of this generating station, this electric motor. But with all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next build.